Hi, it's Tommy Pope. It's actually Friday today. We picked up an extra day because I wanted to have Representative Gary Simrill with me. We finished the budget this week in Columbia. Gary's been hard at work, particularly on the roads issue, but he's also on Ways and Means, our York County representative on Ways and Means. Gary, could you tell us a little bit about what we did in the budget? And then, too, if you could tell us a little bit about what we did on roads and where we're at, where we'll go when we come back.
Sure, I appreciate the opportunity. It's interesting to know when you start looking at the budget in South Carolina, in particular, economic development that we've had in South Carolina. More jobs, more growth, more people moving to South Carolina. The result is really a banner year in our budget. If you go back to 2007, which was kind of the high watermark for South Carolina, we have now eclipsed that. And so what a great day for us to be able to talk about our budget really coming back online, having more really for everything we need in the budget. I mean, so many things took hits that we saw. So now we have the opportunity where more money went to education, more money went to law enforcement, giving teachers a 2% pay raise, giving state employees a 2% pay raise, our law enforcement officers that do so much for our state as well, making sure that we can not only pay them a better wage, but that we don't lose them to outside agencies. I mean, those things are important. Unfortunately, as you know, we also had a lawsuit that had been filed, the Abbeville case they called it. And part of the settlement of this is more money into education in exceptionally hard parts of South Carolina. The I-95 corridor that's called the corridor of shame. We've put another $258 million into that system. And so hopefully, knowing that money doesn't cure all ills, but that we can bring more teachers, better facilities, all those into that area is a high watermark for us.
And we actually on education passed a number of bills over to the Senate to deal with kind of the non-monetary components. We'd already done that, right?
No question about it. So you've got really, I mean, no money by itself is good. You have to have the reform component, and I think this is a banner year for that when you look at it. Obviously, more money back to the taxpayer. I mean, if you look at the budget of South Carolina and the money that goes back in the forms of tax relief already, whether it's the homestead exemption, whether it's the veterans benefits that we send back to homeowners in South Carolina, all of those things play a crucial part, I think, in first, what we deem is important in South Carolina, and then how we pay for those things. We also took another $415 million out of the budget and started paving roads. And if you look at local roads in South Carolina in all 46 counties, this budget has a 67% increase in those C-Fund monies that go back to those.
That's the ones that come back here, is that right?
Come back to this local control, local roads, a 67% increase. And so that is good. We also took another $365 million and put it in the general highway fund. And the new Secretary of Transportation is letting us know now, she really is shovel ready. I mean, these projects are ready to go. We have used up much of the federal monies that came into South Carolina, and so this will be a big shot in the arm for putting more roads together. We also, unfortunately, with the flooding we had in South Carolina, part of South Carolina's budget pays for the repair of those roads. We included that in the budget as well. That's another $49 million. So,
and we tried to take care of the farms that were devastated too.
We have farm aid in this bill as well, realizing that farmers really is the front line. And in farming, if you lose your crop, you can't just go buy another crop. You have to replant. And so our farmers, who are vitally important, not only to South Carolina, but really around the world, in what farmers here send out. And so farmers equal food, $40 million in a farm aid project that is now passed as well.
So we passed, and I was trying to recall this week whether it was unanimous or maybe we had one vote against, I can't remember, but we send that budget now over to the Senate, and they'll take up the budget, and then whatever they add or change, and then it'll come back to us, and we'll either accept that or work it together in the committee. Is that correct?
That's correct. And of course, by Constitution, all dollar bills start in the House. So the House passes the budget first. We form that budget. We send it to the Senate. Like any other bill, they will typically amend it when it comes back to the House. The differences we'll try to work out in the conference committee, and hopefully by July 1, which begins our new fiscal year in South Carolina, we will have a budget in place. But the budget that left the House, I think, is one of the best we've seen. Whether you look at law enforcement, whether you look at roads, whether you look at education, whether you look at it taking care of farmers or taking care of the state employees, whether they be teachers, general workers, or law enforcement, a great, great budget year.
So we finished up this week. We sent that over to the Senate, and when we get back in session, we'll be working, and we'll have to use this for another day, but we'll be working on DOT reform, kind of reflecting what our first bill what came back from the Senate, making sure that those dollars are spent, that you can trust that they're actually going to where you want them to go. So I know it's gone a little long today. It was a pleasure to have Gary with me. Gary, I always appreciate your support and your work you do on Ways and Means. If you need me, Tommy at TommyPope.com. We'll probably take a week off next week, and then I'll follow back up with you in the following weeks as we keep moving forward in Columbia. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.